Drasa, a lethal sniper with nerves of steel, hides deep inside a shadowy cave waiting for 10 long days without a single mistake. Then, her moment arrives. A private jet touches down at a remote airport, and out steps a powerful figure surrounded by guards. Without hesitation, Drasa pulls the trigger one clean shot, and the man collapses instantly. At the same time, a man named Levi receives a cryptic summons to a secretive military base. When he arrives, he's greeted by Bartholomew, a sharp and commanding officer who knows exactly who Levi is. She brings up his elite sniper record and his fearsome past on the battlefield. Without wasting time, she presents him with a rare offer: return to action for a mission unlike any other. Meanwhile, in a quiet Lithuanian village, Drasa visits her mother's grave with her father. Erikia is gravely ill with cancer and has made a heartbreaking choice to end his life on Valentine's Day. Though devastated, Drasa honors his wish. They share a final drink, and then she sets her sights on a new mission, one that will last an entire year. Later, Levi regains consciousness inside a strange aircraft. Still groggy and confused, he has no clue where he is or how he got there. His belongings are gone, all except for a single envelope left in his pocket. A stern soldier appears and informs him the area ahead is off-limit. He'll have to go the rest of the way on foot. With no choice, Levi straps on a parachute and dives into the unknown, braving harsh terrain and extreme weather conditions. After what feels like forever, Levi finally arrives at his destination, where he meets Jasper, a soldier who's been living in total isolation for an entire year. Jasper takes him to an isolated high-tech outpost that will now be Levi's new home. The place runs on solar energy, has its own generator, and even collects rainwater to stay fully functional. Across a massive gorge stands a matching tower guarded by a soldier from the Eastern world. But there's one strict rule: no communication between the two sides. The valley between them is a death trap loaded with hidden mines and deadly traps. Crossing it is impossible. Levi's mission sounds simple but feels ominous: patrol the western border, maintain the defense systems, and check in with command every 30 days. Special transmitters called cloakers keep the gorge hidden from satellites. But if those fail, a terrifying backup plan called Stray Dog activates. Jasper doesn't know what exactly it does, but he warns Levi: if you ever hear air sirens, run for your life. For 75 long years, both sides have kept watch over the mysterious valley, but not a single soul knows what is hiding beneath that thick, haunted fog. As Levi starts settling into the outpost, a nagging feeling grows stronger. What's the real reason he's been sent here? Something doesn't feel right. Then, without warning, Jasper tosses a small electronic device straight into the gorge. Moments later, horrifying screams echo from below. Chilling and inhuman, Levi freezes in shock. Jasper simply mutters, "We call them the Hollow Men," but even he admits no one truly knows what they are. Decades ago, 2,000 brave soldiers marched into that trench. None ever came back. Instead of sending more troops, the military sealed it off and built a containment field, locking in whatever nightmare still lives down there. The very next day, Jasper prepares for his extraction. A helicopter lowers a rope, and Jasper climbs up. But the moment he reaches the top, a cold-faced man greets him and says, "Thank you for your service," and shoots him in the head, no mercy. After dumping the body, the man contacts Bartholomew and coldly reports, "Rotation complete." In the weeks that follow, Levi slips into a steady route, fixing defenses and making his 30-day reports. While exploring, he stumbles upon hidden notes left behind by the previous watchers. One message, written by the very first watcher named Bradford back in the 1940s, sends a chill down his spine. It simply urges him: step into the unknown, find out what lies beyond. Levi often peers through his binoculars, curious about who's stationed across the gorge. One day his heart skips a beat. He spots a woman. It's true. As days pass, a quiet connection forms between them. Then comes her birthday. That very day, the two watchers begin a strange but sweet form of communication: binocular glances and scribbled notes held up across the chasm. She tells him, "It's my birthday," and Levi writes back his name, then lifts his drink in a silent toast. What follows is a playful sniper challenge. Drasa nails a perfect shot at his cup, and Levi answers by blowing a champagne bottle to bits. But just as they laugh through the scopes, Drasa spots something terrifying moving on the rocky cliff on Levi's side. She urgently signals him. Both of them focus their lenses and freeze. Giant, humanoid beasts fused with trees are climbing upward. Fast. Levi doesn't hesitate to bang. He drops the first one. But more are coming, dozens of them. Side by side, Levi and Drasa unleash every weapon they have, backed up by automated defenses. It's a brutal siege. One of the monsters claws its way to the top and ambushes Drasa. She fights back with everything she has got and barely survives. Still, the onslaught keeps coming. The gorge erupts with explosions as chaos rages through the night. Drasa is hurt, bleeding, but she won't stop. She knows they're the last line of defense between these monsters and the world above. When dawn finally breaks, both of them are still standing, bloodied but unbroken. They wait in silence, unsure if the nightmare is truly over. The next day, Levi gets to work sealing fence gaps. resetting mines and welding damage. But then out of nowhere, a small drone shaped like a missile bursts from the gorge and rockets into the sky. What was that? Both watchers are left stunned, staring after it. Weeks roll into months. Despite the distance, Levi and Drasa grow closer, sharing messages, emotions, and quiet moments. Then, on Valentine's Day, something's off. Levi gets worried. That night, he checks through the binoculars, and sees her crying. Unbeknownst to him, today was the day her father chose to end his life. Drasa writes, "I wish you were here with me." Her message hits Levi hard and sparks a wild, dangerous idea in his mind. The next morning, Levi puts his bold plan into action. He rigs a zip line using a modified grenade launcher to shoot a cable across the deadly gorge. That's right, he's going to meet Drasa fate. After setting everything up, he launches the cable across the chasm. On the other side, Drasa grabs it, secures it tightly, and gives the signal it's ready. With a bunch of wildflowers and Handy's version of a romantic gesture, Levi straps in and launches himself across the abyss. The zip line zips through the fog, and at last, he lands on Drasa's side. The two watchers, after all this time, finally meet in person. They freshen up, shake off the nerves, and sit down for dinner. What follows is a beautiful night sharing childhood stories, soft laughter, and even dancing under the stars. It's like time stops for them, wrapped in music and moonlight. The bond between them deepens fast. This isn't just connection, it's chemistry. But the magic doesn't last. Come morning, Levi prepares to zip back to his tower using the same rope. Just as he's about to reach his side, a sudden explosion rocks the cliffside. Boom! The blast shreds the zipline and Levi vanishes into the thick fog, plunging into the gorge below. Drasa screams. Without a second thought, she grabs a parachute and her weapon then leaps into the unknown. She tears through the fog and crashes hard into a river. The current drags her downstream, but she manages to grab onto a tree and pulls herself out soaked and shaken, but alive. Meanwhile, Levi hangs unconscious, dangling upside down from a massive, twisted tree. Creepy, centipede-like creatures crawl toward him with eerie precision. Just in time, he wakes up and fires, killing one. But the blast knocks him loose, and before he can react, something monstrous reaches up from the depths. Long, bony fingers wrap around him, slowly dragging him down into darkness. Drasa hears the crack of gunfire echoing through the gorge and sprints toward the sound without hesitation. She arrives just in time, unleashing a flurry of bullets at the monstrous creature gripping Levi. Her shots rip through it, and Levi breaks free. There's barely time to breathe. They share a quick, breathless moment, then decide to push deeper into the fog, searching for a way out. But out of nowhere, they're ambushed. The Hollow Men have returned, but now they're even more terrifying. This time, they come riding twisted, grotesque horses, half flesh, half lead, their limbs knotted with vines and bone. Still, Levi and Drasa don't flinch. Armed and deadly, they open fire and wipe out the attackers in a brutal, coordinated assault. After the battle, they examine the strange bodies, and what they discover chills them to the core. The creatures are wearing old military uniforms. These weren't just monsters, they were officers from the 1940s. Shocked and disturbed, the two decide to keep moving. South feels like the only way out. Eventually, they reach a crumbling, forgotten city, swallowed by decay. As they carefully explore the ruins, piercing screams echo through the empty streets. Instantly, they take cover in an abandoned church. But inside lies a horror. They didn't expect. Skeletons still seated in the pews. All of them appear to have taken their own lives. The question hangs heavy in the air: what could have driven them to such an end? Before they can even process it, nightmare fuel drops from the ceiling. Spider-like creatures with twitching legs attack from above. A chaotic fight breaks out, but then it gets worse. The Hollow Men return, surrounding the church from every direction. Knowing they can't survive this one, Levi and Drasa make a break for it. They hurl explosives to blow open a path and dash through the smoke and rubble. At the base of a massive wall, they spot a hidden entrance. Wasting no time, they slip inside and slam the door shut just as the monsters close in. The lock clicks, and the nightmare is held at bay for now. The hidden passage leads them deep underground into a decaying laboratory littered with skeletal remains. The air is thick with dust and silence. Levi finds a backup generator and manages to power it up, flooding the room with a flickering light. They access an old recording left behind by a terrified scientist. On the screen, she explains, this was recorded in 1946. She goes on to reveal a shocking truth. Scientists from both the East and West once worked together in secret to create powerful biochemical weapons. The experiment succeeded, but then disaster struck. An earthquake ripped through the facility, cracking everything open and releasing a monstrous gas into the environment. This wasn't just toxic, it was transformational. The substance fused human, animal, and plant DNA, turning everyone caught in its path into horrific mutants. The same twisted creatures Levi and Drasa have been fighting. Shaken but determined, they press forward in search of an exit. Along the way, they stumble upon an old computer, early 2000s tech belonging to a private corporation named Dark Lake. As Levi scans through encrypted files, The horrifying truth is exposed. Dark Lake has been sneaking into the gorge for years, extracting samples from the infected creatures. Their mission: to manufacture super soldiers using the mutated DNA. But that's not all. Levi digs even deeper and uncovers the chilling details of Stray Dog. It's a last resort self-destruction protocol, designed to completely obliterate the entire gorge if containment fails. Once the cloak is shut down, the system arms itself automatically, and the only safe distance, exactly 4.2 kilometers away. Just as they prepare to leave, Drasa bag is missing. It held all their ammunition. Levi's gut sinks. They're not just monsters. They're thinking. When they step outside, they spot the bag lying on the ground ahead. But everything about the scene screams trap. They move forward, carefully, hearts pounding, weapons ready. Out of nowhere, a hollow man riding a monstrous horse charges through the mist and snatches Drasa with a rope, dragging her violently across the ground. Levi takes off after them, heart racing, tracking them to a sinister structure that plunges deeper underground. Inside, the grotesque creature has tied Drasa up, suspending her in midair like bait. But Drasa is no easy target. She breaks free and launches into a brutal, no-holds-barred fight. The blows are fierce and unforgiving. Just when it looks like she might fall, Levi bursts in. He fires straight through the creature's skull, ending it on the spot. Breathing hard, they reunite, but something about the monsters remains catches Levi's eye. As he examines the corpse, a horrifying realization dawns. This was Bradford, the very first watcher of the Western Tower. The man had become one of them. Levi takes Bradford's old sword, gripping it with grim determination. They press on. There's no turning back now. As they move deeper, they stumble upon a massive, nightmarish tree, its twisted roots embedded with hundreds of dormant creatures, all connected like one gigantic living hive. But then Drasa accidentally steps on a root. The entire thing trembles, and suddenly, the creatures awaken. The swarm attacks. Levi slashes through the horde with Bradford's blade, but there are too many. They're quickly surrounded. Desperate, Drasa pulls out a grenade launcher and fires boom. A fiery blast rips through the chamber, setting the monstrous roots ablaze. They scramble upward, climbing out of the smoldering underground hell and into a garage stacked with military jeeps, each one rigged with a powerful winch. Wasting no time, they hop into one and speed toward the eastern wall. There they find a shattered zip, and the creatures, they're coming fast. Without hesitation, they secure a rope to the winch and begin their final, desperate ascent. As the winch lifts them higher through the dense fog, the nightmare isn't over. The hollow men are climbing after them. The grotesque creatures swarm from every angle, clawing at the jeep, their twisted limbs scraping the metal. With only meters to go, Levi and Drasa are forced to make a brutal cold ditch to the jeep. Thinking fast, they rip open the fuel line, drenching the vehicle in gasoline. Levi pulls a flare, lights it and throws it into the jeep. Kaboom! The explosion is massive, vaporizing the creatures clinging to them. But the blast also tears into the rope. The line frays and begins to snap. With no time to lose, Drasa takes a knife and slices the weakened rope. They're on their own. No vehicle, no support. Using only their hands and raw willpower, they climb the rest of the way up the cliff. Exhausted, trembling, and soaked in sweat, they finally reach the top, collapsing inside the eastern tower. Once they've treated their wounds, they resume routine protocol like nothing ever happened. Levi and Drasa submit their scheduled 30-day report, playing it cool. But behind the calm, a plan is forming. Levi tells Drasa, "We have to destroy the gorge. We can't let this evil spread." She agrees, then tells him of a quiet place in France where they can disappear once the job is done. They promise to reunite after the mission. Levi heads back to his tower and contacts mission control with a cold, rehearsed line. All clear. Situation normal, but someone's already onto them. Bartholomew knows. She's furious. To her, Levi's gone rogue. Without hesitation, she signs the order. She personally assembles a strike team and leads the mission herself. The very next morning, as Levi and Drasa begin their usual patrol, a low rumble cuts through the air. A helicopter. It descends over the western tower. Levi spots it and instantly knows they've been exposed. He yells, "Run!" and grabs Drasa together. They vanish into the forest, dodging trees and gunfire. Bartholomew finds the tower empty and sends drones swarming into the sky, scanning both sides of the gorge. Now on the run, Levi and Drasa race through the woods, constantly checking their distance from the stray dog activation zone for 2 kilometers away. But the drones are ruthless, chasing them down and firing relentlessly. There's no room for error now. Every second counts. Suddenly, boom, a chunk of falling debris slams into Levi, knocking him to the ground. But he grits his teeth, powers through the pain, and blasts a drone out of the sky. Just ahead, Drasa spins and takes down 2 more drones in rapid succession. No time to rest. They keep running, lungs burning, legs pumping, racing farther and farther from the doomed facility. They reach the top of the hill and then everything changes. They cross the cloaker perimeter. Immediately, the stray dog protocol activates. Sirens scream to life. Far above, Bartholomew hears the alarms and freezes, her eyes widen with dread. "Evacuate me now," she screams to her team as they rush her toward the helicopter. But it's too late. The nuclear fail-safe arms itself and then detonation. The ground trembles. A blinding light erupts from the gorge, followed by a monstrous shockwave. As Bartholomew's helicopter lifts off, the wave slams into it with unimaginable force, sending it spiraling violently before it crashes into a flaming heap. Back on the ground, Levi, battered and bleeding, fights to survive. The explosion hurls him off a cliff and into a churning body of water below. Meanwhile, Drasa watches from a safe distance as the gorge is consumed in fire and destruction. She did it, ... but her heart sinks. Did Levi survive? Days pass. Eventually, Drasa makes her way to France, arriving at the quiet cafe where they'd promised to meet. But Levi isn't there. She waits ... and waits. Then, tucked into a flower pot, she finds a small note written by Levi, just in case. As she reads the delicate handwriting, her hands begin to tremble. It's not just a message, it's a poem, a beautiful, heartbreaking farewell. Tears spill down her cheeks. A month later, Drasa begins a quiet new life as a waitress. The world keeps turning. Then, one ordinary afternoon, she feels a strange sensation. Someone's watching her. She turns slowly. There he is, Levi, alive, smiling, waiting. The pain, the chaos, the worry, all fades. They kiss, overwhelmed with relief and love. After everything they've endured, this is their fresh start. The end.